Hello, Red Wave. Welcome to Bulldogs podcast. My name is Caleb Nail. This is my good friend and co-host, Caleb Pletz. We're talking about Fresno State versus Washington State in Fresno this weekend. A little later than usual, but we know a little more now. We usually record these earlier in the week, and then something happens, and we don't get to talk about it, like Sluka transferring and then running things like that. But later in the week, now we know what's been going on in practice. So we're going to talk about this Fresno State-Washington State football game. But first, I got to plug the socials really quick. Make sure you follow us on X, Beware_Bulldogs, on Instagram, Beware Bulldogs Podcast, and on YouTube, Beware of Bulldogs. We go live on Sundays after the game, that Sunday night. We have videos like this that we put out, and we talk football, basketball, baseball. Shoot, we've talked to water polo coaches, volleyball coaches. We have a good time over here. This is your place for Fresno State athletics. And make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, like, do all that fun stuff on YouTube. Good night, bud. Love you. My 2-year-old's going to bed. He was threatening to push other buttons as the intro was going on, so I had to be careful. And also, this episode is brought to you by some lovely sponsors of ours, Fresno State Quarterback Club. Quarterback Club is it's a club of people that get together and they support the football program. So you pay dues and you're going to cook for the team. You could be a part of this, by the way. And their goal right now is to build an updated weight room for the football team and for the athletic department. So that's their big goal, but they bring in speakers and you get to meet players and coaches. Your contact for this is going to be Mike Stovall. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he's a former player, center to be exact. Great guy, and his son has walked on the team and is playing on the team this year. But write down this number and call Mike. Tell him you want to be a part of a quarterback club and support the football team. It's 559-577-6979. Number one more time, 577-6979. Mike, I hope you're okay with me giving out your number because everybody's going to be texting you trying to get in quarterback club. I think he'll be okay with that. I think that's a reason why he's sponsoring this episode. Quarterback club, big supporters of Fresno State football and Fresno State athletics. Also, Bill and Ted's excellent service. They provide the best lawn care in Kerman. If you're in the Kerman area, give these guys a call. They do my lawn. It's a life changer. For the past 6 years, Caleb, as I've been here, we live out in the country. Mowing lawn and edging has been rough, to say the least. It's difficult to keep up with everything. Found Bill and Ted's excellent service. They save me tons of time, and they do a great job. And their service is, like they say, excellent. I use them. I love them. They make my lawn look great, save me so much time. And they also work with your budget. So make sure that you talk to them through your budget, and they will work with you. Check out their work on Facebook at Bill and Ted's Excellent Service, or on Instagram, The Excellent Ted Furnish. And then when you're ready to schedule a service, call or text them at 559-567-2110. The number again, 559-567-2110. Let them know that Beware Bulldogs sent you. And then also, really quick, as always, Manage X. They've been a sponsor the past 2 years. Manage X. If you guys own some property and you need help managing that property, Manage X, they're the people to go to. They're going to help you take care of it. So head over to managex.net. Manage, the letter X.net. Check out what they can do for you. Contact them. And I'm telling you, they are great people and great family, huge supporters of Fresno State athletics and Beware of Bulldogs podcast. Anything else I need to add in on Manage X, Caleb?
I think you covered it. And yeah, last one, Givoli. I think there's a big event this weekend that I'm sure you're going to mention at Givoli.
Yes. Ziveli Winery, Ziveli. Looks like Zavelli. Ziveli Winery. They're located on Biola Avenue, just north of Shaw. So once again, heading out west towards the Kerman area. They're a local winery. The grapes they use are all local. Don't believe the people that say you can't make wine in Fresno with Fresno grapes. It's not true. It's not true. There's good wine out here, and Ziveli Winery is one of them. They also have brick oven pizza, wood fire brick oven pizza, true wood fire, no gas, homemade dough recipe. It's great. You got to try it. I may be a little biased when it comes to the pizza, but it's very good. Then this weekend, Saturday, 6 o'clock, they're having their crush party. We're going to I Love Lucy it out there, Caleb. We're taking our shoes and socks off. We're jumping in a big concrete trough full of grapes, and we're going to squish them. Now, there is a cover charge. So I want you to head over to ziveliwinery.com, Ziveli winery.com. You can get your tickets there. There's going to be live music. There's going to be dancing in the trough. We're going to have a good time drinking wine, eating pizza, and enjoying fellowship with one another. So that's Ziveli Winery, Ziveli winery.com. You can get your tickets there. All right, Caleb, now we can talk football. It's been a while. We're coming off a bye week. We need this bye week. We needed this bye week. Fresno State just got blasted by UNLV. That was a rough one. That recap, thank you guys for putting up with that. That was a sad Sunday, to say the least. Mm-hmm. We don't like sad Sundays. Because Sunday, I go to church. I'm celebrating the life of Jesus and his sacrifice for us. It's a great day, like every day. But I got that added sadness of of Fresno State losing, which always stinks. We got to get back this weekend. Caleb, is there anything that you learned throughout this week, whether that be watching the press conference as Skip? They didn't do one on Monday, but they did one recently. Monday after the game, I should say. But they did one recently. Is there something you learned from there or practice or anything that you want to share about how you're thinking we're coming in to this week and how we're approaching this game?
I just have so many question marks coming in. Regarding the press conference, it just felt like just more of the same. I mean, I don't blame the coaches for not really giving anything away. I mean, they gave a lot of credit to UNLV, rightfully so, and they executed well and dominated the Bulldogs, and we certainly did not deserve to win that game. So I think that was kind of the message for the previous game. I mean, moving forward, I think that the tone was we need to get back to Bulldog football and, just playing our game. Don't worry about our opponent, which I do think is a good place to be. And I mean, even in our preview, when we're just so worried about the opponent's quarterback, like, oh man, we really got to stop this guy. Really got to stop this guy. And then that guy didn't even play. So I think that even we're falling into it as fans. And we just need to focus on our own team. And whatever the opponent does, it'll be okay as long as we're playing our game.
That is very true, Caleb. I like that. And I'm one of those people. I get caught up and I already started this week with Mateer, the quarterback at Washington State, and these guys' explosive offense. Once again, how are we going to do this? But if we just take care of our job, look ourselves in the mirror, that's a great lesson for life in general. Control the controllables, as people in the sports world say. So, I like that. Okay, so what do we know about Washington State? We know a couple things. We know their quarterback, Mateer. He's actually their leading rusher. He runs the ball extremely well. He can throw the ball okay, but they are, as a team, coming into this game 4-1 with wins over Portland State, Texas State, Washington, and San Jose State. They beat San Jose State by 2, by the way. That was a crazy game. Was that an OT as well?
Yeah, double overtime. And it was Texas Tech, not Texas State. So
sorry, Texas Tech.
12.
Yeah. Portland State, Texas Tech, Washington, San Jose State, and then a loss to Boise State. They got blasted by Boise State. Ashton Janty, I think, ran for like 260 on him and 4 tutties. But who hasn't he done that to? So, watching this Washington State team, I watched them against Boise, and I watched them against San Jose State. I did not watch them against Washington and Texas Tech. Now, I've seen highlights, but they seem to be similar to Fresno State, Caleb, in this way, and that is, I would call them inconsistent. I mean, offensively, and the reason I say that is offensively, it seems like they tend to take drives off. They don't show up all the time. Defensively, I mean, they looked good against Texas Tech and Washington, but then San Jose State and Boise State tore them apart. So there's some inconsistencies there. There's some question marks there. What are your thoughts after watching Washington State play their schedule so far?
Yeah, I agree with you, definitely. I think that we don't think Boise State's defense is all that good. And so for Boise to be able to shut down and really limit a potentially explosive offense in Washington State is it's saying something. This team, they are coming off a bye, same as the Bulldogs. So, equal rest. Obviously, they're traveling, but I mean, we're going to get the full strength effort from Washington State this week. So I think that they certainly have the high explosive capability on offense. Defense, like you mentioned, they have the capability of giving up a ton of points. And like the Bulldogs, they can put up a ton of points. We can. And we can also give up a ton of points like we showed against UNLV. So it really, honestly, like I said, a whole lot of question marks this game. I really don't know how this is going to go and what version of the Fresno State Bulldogs is going to show up. I think that a running quarterback for Washington State is always dangerous for Fresno State. I mean, that's just one of the kryptonites that we just can't seem to figure out. But I don't think he's as elusive as some of the previous mobile quarterbacks that we've faced. If we're looking at the most recent game against Boise, I mean, Boise sacked him 8 times. And so that obviously shows the offensive line maybe is not as strong, or he's just not as elusive and able to get away and escape pressure. So I think that that's a potential opportunity. It's something that Fresno State needs to take advantage of, because we really haven't had a whole lot of sacks coming from the defensive line this season. And I think that that's going to have to be a big key for this game. Sorry for jumping ahead to keys.
No, that's since we didn't have, and don't worry, I know we just talked about how we need to focus on our, look at us in the mirror. We will do that. We did not have a get to know this week. So I'm going to run through names that we should look out for and some numbers just so people know. So you guys know. John Mateer, quarterback. I mean, he's 58% completion percentage, 13-5 touchdown interception ratio. Like you said, he's been sacked 13 times throughout the season, but 8 times against Boise. He is their leading rusher. He's carried the ball 77 times. Their next leading rusher, Wayshawn Parker, has carried the ball 62. So, I mean, he has 15 carries more than the next guy. He has 120, looks like 120 yards more than their next best guy. And he's the leading touchdown getter on the ground. So Mateer does most of it on the ground. Also, their running back names are very cool. You got Wayshawn, you got Leo Pulalasi, and then Jovensky Schlenbaker. That's like a video game name for sure. But so those are your guys carrying the ball for them. And then receiving, you have Kyle Williams and Chris Hudson at a splitting time when it comes to receptions. But when it comes to touchdowns, Kyle Williams leads the way with 5, but then their tight end, Cooper Mathers, is right behind him as well. So, I mean, those are the names to look out for. Offensively. Defensively, you're going to keep an eye out for Kyle Thornton. He's a linebacker. He leads the team in total tackles. In sacks, if my computer would load, looks like they have 5 sacks on the season, Caleb. Andrew Edson and Ram Stevenson, the 2 edge rushers. That's it. But our O-line has been susceptible to most D-lines. And then their leading DB, Ethan O'Connor, leads the way with 2 picks. Like I said, Kale, about their defense, I feel pretty good about our offense against their defense. The inconsistencies they've had the past 2 games, that they've struggled. We're gonna have to take advantage of that. Any other names that you know on Washington State that you're looking out for?
Yeah, I mean, on the receiving side, Kyle Williams, it should be a familiar name to Bulldog fans, a transfer from UNLV. So very good receiver who transferred, I think, a year or 2 ago. So definitely look out for him. And yeah, funny you mentioned Cooper Mathers because he has 3 receptions and all 3 are for touchdowns. So that's a pretty high percentage there of converting to points when you're throwing to that guy. But for the most part, I think Mateer is really the make or break for this team. And I mean, he's kind of got some schoolyard, draw it up, just make a play happen in him. Where I mean, he's just kind of shifty and can run and can throw it a little bit. Obviously, is not super efficient, but I think that pretty much the offense hinges on him. And so if he's having a good day, and if Fresno State defense can't contain him, and he's able to run and maybe run for 100 yards, it's going to probably be a successful day for Washington State offense.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of those things, what do the Bulldogs need to do to make sure that we're not sweating bullets? This is our segment called Gonna Make You Sweat.
As an expert on sweat and sweating, I may as well be a sweat scientist.
And by the way, I should clarify, because we have people from other teams jumping in and they have no idea what's going on when we do these segments. Caleb, we are the C&C Football Factory. So they have a song, Gonna Make You Sweat, or as you probably know it, Everybody Dance Now. So we have those segments. You're welcome, Wazoo fans. Thank you for listening and tuning in. So Caleb, what's going to make you sweat this Saturday? Because it should be a nice day. I mean, it's getting better. It's finally starting to feel like October, at least today was starting to feel that way. Mm-hmm. But what's going to make you sweat this Saturday?
I think we have to think defense first. I mean, I know that there's been offensive woes, but coming off a game where Fresno State defense gave up over 50 points, that has to be a focus here. So just playing sound fundamental ball, and I guess maintaining containment. I mean, obviously, I'm not a football coach and I don't know all the terminology, but containing a mobile quarterback, I mean, there has to be set assignments. Everybody knows their job, and so just keeping it simple and containment. That seems to be the word that just keeps coming back to me. So if the defense is able to contain Mateer and yes, make him throw. I feel like we say that every week. Make the quarterback throw to beat us. I think that it has to be. So if Mateer and the Washington State offense is able to move the ball and have successful drives, like UNLV score, on 6 drives in a row, that's gonna really make me sweat, because I don't know if our offense can keep up and put up 56 to win a game.
I agree. It doesn't matter how great your offense is. It is really hard to win a game if you have to score 60 points to win. I'm with you. I think what's going to make me sweat is if we don't get pressure, we don't contain Mateer, we have wide receivers running wide open, and it's easy dink and dunk all the way down the field for Mateer, and then or their running game opens it up. I mean, the defense has to be the difference in this game. They have to step up and kind of show us that, hey, early on in the season, what you saw from us, the shutout against New Mexico State, the toughness in the trenches against Michigan, that was for real, right? And granted, we're banged up a little bit. We're missing some starters. Granted, I believe Devo is going to be back this week, which is going to be big. But Cam Brock is still out. Either way, the defense has to prove to us that they belong there, especially after what happened 2 weeks ago. So I'm with you. If defense doesn't show up, I'm going to sweat. And then I will add in there, because I think what sells tickets is offense. And because it's a home game, we are going to need to see some offense. And there's been a lot of talk about Mikey turning over the ball. If Mikey throws interceptions, and you know what? To his credit, he's been under I can't put the blame on him. I can't not say to his credit, but I can't put the blame on him. He's been under pressure. Some interceptions have been catchable balls that just go through their fingertips, and then it's a tip ball drill for the other team. But Mikey is going to have to be strong in the pocket, strong when he steps into his throw and sling that thing. Because I think I will sweat if Mikey and the O-line struggle. Because at the same time, you can't win a game scoring 14 points.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you're going to be a sympathetic sweater with Mikey because he's been under pressure the whole season. And so how is he able to, gain confidence to be able to stand in the pocket and make a read and make a throw if his O-line isn't giving him enough time? So I agree with you there. That definitely is going to have to, yes, everybody will be sweating if that's happening.
And to be honest, Caleb, I think in my opinion, I'm already sweating. And I think a lot of people in the Red Wave are walking into this game a little nervous after what we saw happen. I think there was a sense that we were ready for UNLV. They had a new quarterback coming in, the guys leaving. What's going on in that locker room after all that? Granted, like on Twitter, they were all psyched for this game. UNLV was. But anyways, the fact that we got trounced, like I'm approaching this game from the fan perspective. I hope not I know the players aren't, but from the fan perspective of Caleb, I'm not very confident. I don't know. Are you confident? I don't know. I'm not very confident.
Based off the most recent performance, it did not give us a lot to be confident about.
True. All right. Okay. So there's the bad. Start with the bad. Get that out of the way. Okay. Let's talk good. What's going to make us dance? Everybody dance now. Caleb, if this hits, and by the way, everyone, I still have Caleb's video, his dance video. He did dance in Allegiant Stadium. I have it. I'm going to put it up. I think I'll put it up tomorrow. Get everybody hyped. I was thinking get everybody hyped for the game tomorrow, Caleb. So just so you know. So that will be going out. If this hits, we will be dancing. Okay. But fully clothed. And it's G-rated.
Of course.
And we have to win. We have to win the game.
Right.
By the way.
So for my everybody dance now, I feel like I need to be careful with this because for the UNLV game, I said I would dance if the defense forced 4 turnovers and then Fresno State went through 4 interceptions. So I don't want to put like a hex or something on our Bulldogs here, but I think that with our focus on the defense, I think that our Fresno State defensive line or just defense in general, they have to create some crazy pressure. So I'll dance if Fresno State defense records 8 sacks on Mateer. So matching exactly what Boise State did. So obviously it's possible because it happened previously in this season, but that would certainly be a record for this season. I don't even know what the single game sack record for Fresno State is in history, but I would dance if we record 8 sacks and win, obviously.
I like that. That's going to contribute a lot to winning. For sure, if we have 8 sacks. Initially, I was thinking I want interceptions, right? I want to, based off of what you've said and what we want to see happen, Devo being back, I want to force pressure, at the same time, contain Mateer, but force him into quick decisions, tight windows, and force interceptions. But last time I said that, I think it was a couple weeks ago when Cam Lockridge just keep getting picks. Well, he hasn't had one since I went on this train of picking Cam Walker to get interceptions. So we're done. Staying away from Cam. I'm going to let Cam do his thing. Okay. But I'm with you. I'm going to actually, I had the same thing you did. Okay, so it's nothing special, but it was lower. I had 5 sacks.
Wow. Okay.
5 sacks for Mateer. I'll dance. And then I'm just gonna let the DBs do their thing, and I have a feeling something fun may happen. Now that we didn't address anything. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. I'll be dancing 5 sacks. And you know what? And I'm going to add it in there because I just have to. Mikey's got to have a clean game. No interceptions. Okay. No interceptions. No fumbles because he almost had that one fumble when he pulled it. No turnovers for Mikey. Clean game. Somebody else can fumble or throw a pick. But Mikey's got to be clean. Caleb, keys to the game. What needs to happen for the Dogs to win a no-doubter?
So I think some of this comes down to personnel. So this week, practice reports are saying Malik wasn't practicing, or at least didn't practice early in the week. So maybe questionable going into this game. And honestly, I think that if Malik isn't 100%, I think that the Dogs are better suited just riding with Gilliam and Donaldson. I mean, Donaldson has been a spark at times when he's been in there and really giving me hope for the future of Fresno State rushing attack, because he just seems like he is the complete package, and I'm really excited about him. So between Donaldson and Gilliam, I think that is going to be like the better key for Fresno State offense right now. And hopefully the offensive line can get sorted out and Malik can get healthier and back to full strength. But I think for right now, hopefully we can lean into those 2 guys. So that's one of my keys is pound the rock with like the big boys. Malik is more of the shifty back, and Gilliam and Donaldson, they're more running north south. Gonna pound it. So that's one of my keys there is pound the rock with our big boys.
I love it. You know me. Run the dang ball. Put Tyler Mello in at fullback. 3 tight end set. Run the ball. I'm all about it. And I agree with you. I think there needs to be a huge emphasis on running the ball. Now, I understand we've struggled run blocking. But I think a way to combat that is put in our tight ends, maybe a little pre-snap motion, get them outside the tackles, get them going, So, but we have to take advantage on the ground, because we just, Caleb and I know you know this, and the Red Wave know this. We are not going to win games dropping back and throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game. It's not going to happen because then we're going to get sacked 8 times. We can't do it. So I think it was the recap against UNLV, or maybe it was the preview against UNLV. I kind of said our identity is slowly changing back to what it was last year when we were frustrated. Short, intermediate passing game, 3-step drop, get rid of it. Maybe a 3-step drop and get rid of it in the passing game. Wide receiver screens, jet sweeps, like that. We're going to have to do so much to create because we can't keep Mikey upright in the pocket. It just doesn't happen. And then, there's other parts that like we can talk about Mikey's game when he should step up in the pocket, but he rolls out and runs and then slides inbounds instead of throwing the ball away. I hope somebody talks him out of that, doing that stuff. So there are those things, but we need to put Mikey in the best position to win the game. And like we said at the beginning of the season, Caleb, the O-line is going to take us. We're going to go as far as the O-line takes us. And right now, it's not looking very good. We're not going to go very far. So I guess all that being said, key to the game, O-line play has to be good. It has to be good. And you know what? I take that back, Caleb. I think it just needs to be par for the course. Because we have so many playmakers, we get them the ball in space, they can go make a play. So be good enough. When I'm putting certain things together or, doing sprinklers and something, I'm just a good enough guy. That's why my sprinklers break all the time. But I'm a good enough guy. You know what? For this game, for the O-line, I'm a good enough guy. Let's be good enough. and let's have our playmakers go get the job done. And hopefully Pat McCann puts them in the best position, because Caleb, at the same time, I think, I've seen it on social media, and Pat has said it himself, he's got to be better. So
that was actually going to be my next point. Is I don't know so much of it if it's a key to this game, but how does Pat McCann respond after kind of putting up a stinker? Granted, obviously he can't control what happens on the field, but he is the one calling the plays, and so we've had plenty of time to prepare. And I think that how is he going to react and call the plays in a way that puts the players in a place to succeed? And so if he knows that the offensive line isn't going to get much of a push, how is he able to stay in front of the sticks and make sure we're not getting negative yardage plays and not putting Mikey in a position where he has to force a throw or maybe make a bad throw? So yeah, I think this is definitely a prove it game for Coach McCann. See how much he's able to overcome some weaknesses on his offense.
I agree. I think that's a good point. Special teams. Anything come to mind when we talk special teams? Say special teams.
I mean, my key that I wrote down was just special teams don't be the weakness. Last game was it seemed really uncharacteristic for a Fresno State Bulldogs team, especially coached by John Baxter, who has the reputation of being a special teams guru. So the execution was really poor last week. So I'm sure that there was plenty of practice in these last 2 weeks and trying to tighten things up. So just execute. And I guess I would almost apply the just be good enough in this, because I think we're seeing with our freshman punter, Clay Lawrence, obviously he's got a lot of growth ahead of him. And I don't think he's going to be the weapon that I predicted at the beginning of the season, at least right now. So as long as we're getting punts off and we're getting at least 45 yards on it, I will settle for that. And just putting our defense in a position where we're not already just defending in our own territory. So just be good enough and don't be a weakness for the special teams, which is kind of a crazy low bar compared to what we've expected from the special teams in the past.
Oh, like we say, if we're talking about special teams, it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to talk about special teams. Or if we are talking about special teams, it's because we nailed a 50-yarder for the win. That's about the only time. Or we are doing the blocking. By the way, UNLV special teams, did you watch them against Syracuse? They should have won that game. But they blocked, I think Ricky White blocked another punt.
Mm-hmm.
But I think something else happened. I think twice. Did they block two? I think two things happened special teams wise. I don't know. Whatever UNLV's doing on the special teams, they're doing something right. Finding weaknesses. Should have won that game. Terrible. Was it targeting call at the end of the game?
I'm not sure. I didn't get to watch that one, and I didn't care to watch it back. I was still just angry at UNLV.
Oh man. Yeah. Anyways, yes, I agree. Special teams has to be much better. Very uncharacteristic of Fresno State Bulldogs special teams play. Okay, Caleb, we are in Fresno. Do you know what the weather is going to be like Saturday? Oh, this is going up Friday. So tomorrow, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Where can we tune in if we're not going to the game? What's the logistics of all those things?
Yeah, hopefully you are making your way to former Bulldog Stadium. It should be a beautiful day, a 4:00 kickoff. So, I mean, this is a family, like you can bring your kids to this game. You can get home a little bit later for bedtime. But I think my son is actually going to get to come in for a little bit. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, 4:00 kickoff at former Bulldog Stadium, obviously TV, Fox Sports 1. So Petros Papadakis as providing the color commentary for that. So that's always fun. He likes to show some love for Fresno. So we like having him on the call. And then obviously on the radio, Bulldog Sports Network with Paul, Pat, and Cam. You can find some even better analysis from them. In terms of the weather, it should be a beautiful day. I think the high is like mid 80s, 85. So should still be some sunshine for probably the first half of the game, and mid 80s and sunny. So I mean that's beautiful. Certainly not fall weather yet, but should be a great environment, especially if you're bringing the kiddos out to the stadium.
Oh man, it sounds great. I'm all about it. Spread right now, what I'm seeing, Caleb, is Washington State is favored by 3.5. The over under is 60.5. What are your thoughts on this this spread of dogs being home underdogs?
Yeah, the home dog is always tempting, and I think, frankly, I have no idea how this game's going to go. I think that it could go probably a big victory for either team, but that's not the score that I have written down. So I think that the Bulldogs are going to pull this out at home. Obviously, we're cheering and rooting for the Dogs to win every game, and I think that we're going to get this right. And we haven't even mentioned Coach Skipper yet. I mean, this is kind of a defining point in the season for him too. He's auditioning for the full-time job here. He still has that interim tag. So a tough loss followed by a bye week. The team better be ready to play, because I think that the administrators are looking at how he's handling this and how the team is responding to him. So I think that Skipper is going to have the team motivated. I mean, the Bulldogs haven't played at home in almost a month, so certainly ready for this matchup. I have Fresno State winning 31-30. So give me the home dog, and I guess that would put it over 60.5 barely. So, but I do have the dogs squeezing one out.
Okay, that's good, because I'm going the other way. Because like I said, I'm a little nervous going into this. My confidence is lacking. And, I think the defenses will step up I think the defense will step up for the Dogs, but I think it's going to be just a little too much for them. And I'm going 27-21 Washington State.
Oh, boo. Play the boo track.
I don't think I have one. I have a yay track, but we're not going to do that here. But yeah, I don't, I hope I'm wrong. But I'm just not confident after last week or 2 weeks ago. And I hope they do, though. I hope they bounce back and prove me wrong. And I hope they boo me. Bring it on the boos. I live for it. No, I don't. Okay. Anything else on this game, Caleb, that we are missing? Any injuries or anything like that we missed, that we glossed over?
Well, you did mention that Devo was obviously out last game, and he should be back for this game against the Cougars. He was practicing this week, so that's a good sign. I do think that was a big piece that was missing last game. So big key, and glad that he's back. But like you mentioned, long-term injuries. Cam Braca is out most likely for the year. Offensive line, hopefully Mose Vavao is healthier. He was kind of a surprise that he came back and played against UNLV. So another week to recover, get stronger, get back. I think that should be a good sign for this offense. I mean, the rest of the O-line is still a big question mark, but at least we feel good about the guy in the middle snapping. So besides that, I don't really have any other injury updates. So hopefully the Dogs just come ready to play Bulldog football.
Really quick, Caleb, let's run through the Mountain West preview. UNLV at Utah State and Logan. UNLV 19-point favorite. Who you got?
It's a big number. Friday night game. I haven't really seen a ton from Utah State. I believe their quarterback is from Iowa, so that's not a good sign. I mean, UNLV should win this game easily. I don't know if they can cover that number, but definitely just taking UNLV straight up. That should be no problem.
Yeah, I'm taking UNLV minus 19. Petrus, sorry, bud. Then Saturday, San Jose State going to Fort Collins, playing Colorado State. Colorado State is a 1-point favorite in this game. Braden Fowler, Nicolosi, and Horton haven't been living up to my expectations. San Jose State, I think, is exceeding expectations. I think we knew Nick Nash is a great player, but what they're doing and their quarterback Brown, I mean, 15 touchdowns to 4 picks, they're exceeding expectations. What are your thoughts on this game, and especially Colorado State being a 1-point favorite?
Yeah, this seems like San Jose should be able to handle business here. I mean, I know that Colorado State does usually play a little bit better at home, but like you said, they've been a little disappointing this year compared to expectations. And I think that, I mean, the Nick Nash show for San Jose State is actually pretty exciting this season. So, yeah, I think that the Spartans should come away with a win on this one.
I'm with you. I'm taking the Spartans. Horton and Nash are going to be so fun to watch this game. It's going to great wide receivers in that matchup. San Diego State travels to Laramie, take on the Wyoming Cowboys. It's a battle of the stinkers, in my opinion. San Diego State is a 1-point favorite on the road. Any opinions on this one?
No desire to watch, but I'm sure I will, just because it's Mountain West and I love the Mountain West for now. So yeah, honestly, Wyoming has really looked not good, but they're at home and they did get a victory already. So I guess I'll take the Cowboys at home.
I'm going to take the Cowboys as well at home. Air Force plays New Mexico in Albuquerque, New Mexico. New Mexico is a 6.5-point favorite. Any thoughts on this one?
I think I'll take New Mexico here. I think they should be able to put up some points, and yeah, Air Force just doesn't quite have the same personnel as before. I feel like we say that every week. So both teams are 1-4, so still kind of fighting for relevance here in the conference. But New Mexico home should be enough to get ahead of the Air Force Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going to take New Mexico minus 6.5. Their Wysong, their wide receiver, and Dampier, they should walk all over Air Force. Oregon State travels to Reno to play the Wolfpack. Oregon State is a 3-point favorite. Nevada is one of those teams when I'm really going to have to do some deep dive into them when we play them, because they played SMU tough week 1. Now SMU is like leading the ACC, but that was week 1. I don't really know where to put them. You know, they've looked good. They've looked bad. What are your thoughts on this one?
I agree. Nevada's been all over the place this year. I think Oregon State's definitely the better team. It is still kind of tough to go to Reno. It's not super cold yet, though, and I guess it will be a night game when the game finishes. But I still like Oregon State, and only 3 points. That's not a ton to cover anyway. So I'll take the Beavers.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Beavers too. They have a nice run game, and the running game travels. But like you said, kickoff, I'm looking here, 74 degrees at kickoff. So it's a beautiful day in Reno. I'm taking the Beavers. Then Boise State, ranked 17 in the country, travels to the island. They are favored by 20.5. I'm taking Boise minus 20.5. Like I said, the running game travels, and they have the best running back in the country. In my opinion, the best player in the country. Boise's going to trounce the Rainbow Warriors. What are your opinions in this game?
I'm going to abstain from picking this game because I'm tired of picking Boise to win. I will take Genty to rush for more than 200 yards, though. I think that that should be pretty easy for them, assuming he plays more than just a half, because I know a couple of games this year they've pulled him after the first half, but I think I'd rather just pick a Genty prop to rush over 200.
Crazy. 95 total carries, over 1,000 yards. 1,031 yards and 16 tutties. The kid is a freak, man. But we're all Mountain West fans here. This didn't surprise us. We've watched him play for some time. All right, Caleb, it's going to be a good weekend of football. There's a lot of great games this weekend. Fresno State, Washington State being one of them. I'm excited for this game. I'm excited Nolan is going to get to experience former Bulldogs Stadium at its finest, and hopefully a loud Bulldog Stadium. I don't know. You're gonna have the like my headphones, like what I'm wearing right now.
We do have some. We didn't use them in Allegiant. I mean, it was loud, but not like too loud. So, but hopefully, former Bulldog Stadium, we need it. So yes, we're planning to bring them. Okay.
You want to know the first place I brought those? You're gonna laugh at me when I say this. The Save Mark Center.
Yeah, right. Maybe if it's the game when Bronny James was there.
Hey, hopefully this year we get a little louder in there. It should be fun. By the way, I will share this. I was around some friends of Coach Wahlberg's, they're basketball coaches, and they had all been to practices, and they said the boys look good. The energy is great. They're super athletic. Like what we've said all the time. They're way more athletic this year. Coach Wahlberg, I guess, is not impressed with their 3-point shooting ability, but the coaches that I spoke to, they said every practice that I've been to, and they've been to 2 or 3, they said they haven't missed. So, but Wahlberg is not impressed with their shooting. Wants their shooting to be better. So, it sounds like a Wahlberg team. Fast, athletic, gets to the rim, rebounds, plays hard, and he wants them to shoot better. Always. You always want to shoot. Always got to shoot better. So, I hope it does get loud and they force me to, because gosh, it'll be basketball season again when my second is born. So I'll have to pull them out for that one. Hopefully it gets loud. But let's focus on Sunday. Look ourselves in the mirror. Let's bounce back after a tough loss to UNLV. Let's beat the Cougars. And let's get this season back on track, shall we? It's just one game. But, man, with all the questions up in the air, Caleb, I'm ready for some answers. I don't know. What about you?
I agree. This is a win here certainly gives the Bulldogs some really good momentum going into the next week at Reno. Should be a very winnable game. I mean, the Dogs are down to 3-3, 500, and hopefully the fan base and even the team still is bought in and sees that there's still stuff to play for this season. Obviously, halfway through the season, still a lot to play for, but difference between being 4-2 and 3-3. I think there's a big difference in perception there.
Yes. Now, this game does not count towards Mountain West standings, just so everyone knows. This game does not count towards Mountain West standings. So if we lose, we're still in the running for the Mountain West. We just got to, in my opinion, I think we're going to have to win out because Boise State and UNLV are not going to do us any favors. And then we also got to get through San Jose State. And I think that could be a tough one. So there's still a lot to play for, and the Dogs are going to have to be on their best. This is that starting point right now. Let's go turn this. Do I dare say turn this season around as we sit at 3-2 with a winning record? But after last week, 2 weeks ago, man, I feel like it. But all right, I'll let everybody get out of here, get back to work, go to bed, whatever you're doing. We thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys. Hey, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And that son is Jesus Christ. We thank you guys. We love and appreciate you guys. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.